Hey guys, just a quick video on how to clean and lubricate your semi-automatic modern firearm. Striker fire is what we're looking at today. The Glock specifically. I've had some specific requests from some friends and people on advice on how to clean the firearm, how often to clean it, things like that. Whenever you first buy a new firearm, it is a good idea to learn how to disassemble it, clean the packing solution that they put on it at the factory off, strip all that off, and then give it a nice cleaning and give it a nice lubrication of actual gun oil, and that's going to help your gun start running right away for you without like a long break-in period where you have to deal with malfunctions and things like that. So I recommend you do that. After you've done that, for most of these modern striker fire guns, you don't have to clean them after every shooting, every trip to the range. You can put at least a couple hundred rounds, depending on the ammunition you're using, maybe up to like 500, 1,000 rounds. You can torture test your gun if you want to and see how far you can push it. For me, it's probably every 500 rounds or so, unless I have a competition coming up or something like that, and then I'll clean it pretty quickly before that. All right, let's start looking at the materials we're going to need and get down to business. All right, what are we going to need to clean our gun? Lay down a towel, some sort of covering to protect the surface. Guns are dirty. Whatever you clean it on is going to get dirty, right? I've got a bore snake to go through the barrel. I've got my Liberty Lubricants solvent, Liberty Lubricant oil to go on at the end. I've got my little mechanical pencil. This is an improvised tool that I started using a while ago, and now I can't live without it. A pair of rubber gloves to protect my hands, keep my hands from getting nasty. And last but not least, just these Rem oil wipes here. I started using these a little while ago, and they make life much, much easier for me. All right, let's get started. All right, ready to get going. Cleaning our Glock Model 17 here. And first thing to do is a safety check, right? So we are going to finger off the trigger. We're going to hold it here, pull the slide back, look inside the chamber, verify there's nothing there, right? I'm going to do that a couple times, right? I can lock it to the rear, look into the chamber, look into the magazine well, look away, do it again. I'm double and triple checking, making sure that this thing is empty, right? Now I'm going to close the slide, point it in a safe direction, right? In this case, it is at an exterior wall with an angle down toward the ground. Even if a bullet went off, it would go through a chair, then a couple walls in my house, then probably through some bricks, and then down into the earth here, right? So I press the trigger, and I know this gun's clear now. Now I just have to break it down. You see on the Glock, we've got our takedown levers right up here on both sides of the gun. All I'm gonna do is pinch them with my fingers, pulling down. I'm going to grab the slide. I'm going to pull back just like about 1/8 of an inch. As I pull back on the slide, it's hard with the rubber gloves, I'm going to push down on the takedown levers just like that. And now my slide's going to come right off just like that. I've got my frame and my slide. Okay, the slide, I'm going to put my finger right here under the spring, push forward, let that come out. My barrel here, right? And it breaks down into 4 pieces. That's why these are one of the reasons these are so popular. Super reliable, super easy to break down. Okay, so we've got our 4 pieces. I'm going to start. Let's see. We'll start with the slide here, and I like to use, as I said, these Rem oil wipes, and because they have both kind of a cleaning agent and a lubricant built into them. They're cheap, they're easy, and they make life really easy. So I'm just gonna wipe down the insides here with this. You can see all the carbon starting to come off. Get up inside here. So this part, I give it a good once over, kind of everything inside here, front of the firing pin. I go everywhere with my fingers first and get kind of the initial layer off. Now is where I use my mechanical pencil, because there's all these little grooves up inside here, these little angled, deep little grooves that it's hard to get your fingers in. I used to use Q-tips and try to get down in there. I'd rip some of the cotton off Q-tips and try to do it, and it would end up just not being able to get very deep, and little bits of cotton would come off and everything like that, and it was really annoying. These wipes won't do that, so I'll kind of just bunch up a little bit of the wipe, take the tip of my mechanical pencil like this, get that in there, and then scrape it around here with the mechanical pencil to really get those little areas where that carbon's going to build up, especially right around the extractor. Right in here is the extractor that it's got a little hook here, and it rips the casing, it rips the brass casing out of the chamber, and if you get that part dirty, sometimes that's when you're going to have malfunctions and failures to extract here. So that is one area that I pay special attention to when I clean. Right, I'm just going to get in there here. Don't be afraid to be rough with it and get that carbon out. There, that is pretty good. It's been a while since I've cleaned this, but I didn't run it that hard, so it's not too dirty. All right, so that's really all I'm gonna do on the slide. Now looking at the frame, I'm gonna do the same thing. If I've got enough clean area here on this, I'm going to do the same thing and just wipe this down on the frame, on the insides here. Get down and in there. Here. I don't really feel like there's a whole lot of carbon buildup here, but if I needed to, with some of these grooves in here, and down in there, again, I can put my my wipe on top of it, put the mechanical pencil on top of the wipe, and then just scrape in there, and I'm going to be able to get some of those little carbon deposits out of those harder to reach places without having to do a complete breakdown of the gun past that field stripping. Okay, these springs really don't require much attention. You can wipe them down a little bit, but they don't get too dirty. Barrel here. First, I'm gonna get a new wipe just for the sake of it. Here for the barrel, there's really two areas that I'm gonna focus on. One is gonna be the feed ramp right here. This is where the rounds come up into the chamber to be fired, and I want to make sure that there's no carbon buildup there to obstruct that from happening. So I'm gonna just do a kind of a hand cleaning with this wipe, and kind of, you can see here, start to try to get this. It should be look pretty clean and shiny and polished by the time I'm done with it. If you have an excessive carbon buildup there, you can use a little wire brush that they sell to get that off. And one cool thing about using the right kind of lubricant, there's lots of lubricants out there. They all work right to an extent. Some work better in colder temperatures, like Liberty lubricants, like some other big name ones. But what you also get when you use a higher end specific gun lubricant is that cleaning becomes much easier. It will lubricate your gun, but it also you won't have as much of a carbon buildup. So whenever you go to wipe it off, it just comes off, as opposed to being like, you really have to scrape with a brush or something real hard. So you'll just see this one, just with my hand, that came off pretty good on the feed ramp. I'm gonna go a little bit more above there, here. And that's pretty good. Okay, so inside the bore, right? And there's different ways of doing this. Sometimes I'll take patches and run them through. You can even take these wipes and make your own little patches. Sometimes if you don't have a bore snake, or you don't have patches and you don't want to go through all that, I'm just trying to rip a piece off here. So sometimes you can rip a piece off of this, right? So it's already got lubricant and cleaning stuff on this. You just kind of shove it here. Guess what? Take your handy dandy thing and push it on down through, just like that. Push it all the way out the other side. And then you go again. Same thing, boom, 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 over and over and over until this comes out clean. That's one way of doing it. If you don't have access to other stuff, especially if I'm on the road traveling for a competition or something like that, sometimes I'll just do that just to get some of the gunk out. Usually though, I've got a bore snake. So here's what I do. This is my ingenious method. Sometimes I'll take some of the solvent here, and first I'll drip some down into the barrel, right, just to start the action. Then on my bore snake, right here, there is a little area where there's some wire, right, some little wire bristles here. I'm going to take some of my solvent and I pour it onto the cloth material of the bore snake itself. A little bit above, a little bit below, here like this. Same thing on the other side, a little bit above, a little bit below, here. Right, now all I'm gonna do, now I just run it through. It's already got some solvent in there. It's already got some solvent on the bore snake itself. Here, now I'm just gonna pull that on through, letting that solvent get on there, letting the wire scrape through there, taking all those carbon particles away from the rifling that's on the inside of the barrel. I'll do that a few times. Here, here, just like this. So this one wasn't super dirty, so we don't need to do it a lot. Here, then I just find a light up on the ceiling and I look through it and I say, oh, I see the rifling. It looks just like the James Bond intro, just like that. Looks good, looks pretty, clean and shiny. All right, now gun's clean, good enough for government work. So now let's put it back together and lubricate it. Here we go. All right, lubrication. We want to keep it simple. Got to be smooth, but not over lubricated. You can run into problems there as well. So as we reassemble, I've got my slide. I'm just going to put the barrel back in right here. Spring here. And that goes on. I'm not sure exactly why, but there's several little kind of laddery steps here on this area right there. I want to make sure that my spring is lined up on that second step, just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to put some lubrication on the slide right in this inner rail area here on both sides here. And honestly, you only need a drop. I like to put a drop at the top, kind of here, and then one a little bit closer to the end as well. Let's see if y'all can see this here. I'm gonna put one right there. Liberty lubricant is a little watery compared to some other more thicker, viscous ones like that, so it runs around a little bit, but it works really, really well. All right, so we get that on both sides of the slide. On the frame, here like this, right back here, see this silver bar right there? We're gonna put a drop right on top of that, just like that. Now I'm gonna reassemble here, find my grooves, line them up, slide it in, rack it, ready to go, right? Gonna lubricate 2 more spots. I'm gonna lock it back, just like that, right here on the barrel itself. I'm gonna give a drop here, just like that, wipe it around here, spread it around just like that, okay? The other spot I'm going to lubricate is right at that front edge, right at the front edge here. That's another friction point. So I'm gonna lubricate that, wipe that in, and then rack it a few times. She's ready to rock and roll. Again, don't have to do that after every range session, just before a major match or after every, I don't know, 300 to 500 rounds, something like that, depending on how kind of ammo you're running, how dirty the gun is. All right, hopefully this helps. You maintain your firearm, you're gonna have lots of fun with it. Get out there and train. Talk to you soon. See ya.